days for a public hearing. Clerk, please read the short title.
Yes, Madam President. This is a public hearing regarding the annual estimate for the City of Syracuse and the Syracuse City School District for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2019, running through June 30th, 2020. Public hearing to be held on April 30th, 2019 at 5:30 p.m. in the Common Council chamber.
Thank you. And if there's anyone that would like to speak, cards are in the back, and you need these. We're going to give everybody 3 minutes. And when you come up, please state your name and your address. So we're going to start with Anish Evans.
Hi, I'm Anissa Evans. I'm at 1826 West Colvin Street. Actually didn't want to speak quite yet. I wanted to hear what you had to say first. I did have a student that inboxed me. He's a Syracuse City School District student, and he's hoping for more funding for the arts program because he's a student at ITC, and he is looking for a full-time band teacher. They have several students there that want to participate in band, but they don't have the funding from what he believes to be able to accommodate that.
And next we have Aggie Lane, followed by Rich Pachowski.
I'm Aggie Lane, and I'm at 340 Midland Avenue. I'm also speaking as a member of the Urban Jobs Task Force. And it's about time the budget did something about the Office of Minority Affairs. So we have one person trying to get some economic justice for the city's residents that are trying to plug into the economy. And I don't know if I've done this twice or 3 times, asking that that budget be increased and that Lamont Mitchell get some more help. So he oversees the MWBE law that also has the EEO goals of 10% minority and 10% women. He also oversees the Syracuse Resident Employment Ordinance that is 20% city residents. He also works with contractors who are saying, well, where can I find these people? Recently, I got an email from Lamont saying, anybody know of, a laborer who might eventually be a flagger for this construction worker? He would like to start a database trying to keep track of people. You can't have a database if you're not checking on the phone numbers and that kind of stuff. You really can't have compliance unless you're showing up at the construction site and checking things out. So I leave with you this thought. You saw in the paper that this city, into what is 2011, said it would, allowed the 485A extension. On those 3 student housings, 42 million went to them. Didn't even come before CIDA. The assessor's saying maybe there was a little foundation. But we can't find, Lamont, an extra person to help the citizens get some good paying jobs in construction. So please take a look at our priorities. Thank you.
Rich Pachowski, followed by Kathy Stottinger.
Rich Pachowski, Executive Director of Syracuse United Neighbors. Been around about 42 years, active membership organization in the South and near West Side neighborhoods, fighting for housing, anti-crime initiatives, and better public works by the city. Syracuse United Neighbors is calling on all members of the Common Council to reject the proposed Mayor Ben Walsh 2019-2020 city budget. The mayor, who says he wants to do something about poverty in this town, has turned a blind eye to the poorest by raising water rates by 4%, property taxes by 3.5%. This is after seeing our county sewer tax increase by $22 on a one-family home in January 19, bringing this to $443 a one-family unit and expected to go higher. And because of this, taxes are going beyond 2%. We will not receive our New York State funds under the STAR program, which I'm showing here. $181.89 to Rich Pachalski. Taxes go, many fixed income homeowners look forward to this check in the mail and no to Ben Walsh's budget. For homeowners and tenants who live on the south, southwest, and near west side neighborhood, we already have the worst streets like the 100-200 block of Bellevue, 200 Merriman. National Grid is running gas lines along Midland, south of West Newell to Ballantyne. And I just went over to the corner of South State and Rainier, which I consider the worst. Ben Walsh should be ashamed of himself for putting down such a small patch of asphalt that doesn't even deal with the problem. I invite every member of the Common Council to go down to this intersection. Poorly maintained streets drives up automobile repairs, which fall heavily on low-income drivers. These same taxpayers live next to 1,700 vacant houses, causing property values not to rise. How effective was the vacant house registry? Can we do better than 11% registered? The high 28 rate of homicides, 24 of which were 10 of them were 20 years and younger, should not be tolerated. Shots fired are off the chain. Something we hear at our monthly Sun meetings. Our community needs to be educated about all the work that's being done dealing with the gangs, like 110. And what is this council doing about guns? Sun calls on the Common Council to support $750,000 to the Land Bank. That's full funding. There is a record of maintaining vacant property at a much lower cost.
Rich, you can turn that into the clerk. Thank you.
You know, there's more, Counselor.
Yep, I know there is, but you get 3 minutes.
You didn't say that at the beginning.
Yeah, I know I did.
All right, so people behind me say yes. I'll turn in my copy. I hope you read it and get back to me, Council President.
Thank you. Kathy Stottinger and Rex Geraldine.
Thank you. Being a former Kathy Stoutinger, 1700 West Onondaga Street, Providence House. Formerly owned a house on the corner of Grace and Messina on the west side. And after my husband died, I had such a hard time keeping up with the water bill and the taxes, even though I had the STAR program, which was a lifesaver. It was very hard. And I just want to let you know that all my friends that still live down there are scared about this new raise. So I just hope you take it in your hearts to try to help them. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Rex and Barry Lentz to follow.
Probably start.
Rex Jardine, 112 Circle Road. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm sure it's difficult for you to listen through these budget cycles. You should have previously received my written words to the Board of Education from March 12th on the budget. With $469 million of school district funding at stake, it is difficult to provide meaningful input in minutes. Tonight I will focus on one facet. In front of each of you is a different attendance map for our city's elementary schools. Share them, compare them. They are more fascinating than anything I can ever say here. Each dot represents a family's child and their distance to an elementary school they attend. The budget documents indicate we're ready to commit more than $24 million, so 17,201 children can be bused each day if you live beyond 1.5 miles. The BOE just voted to lower that threshold to 1 mile through grade 8. No one is sure what that change will cost the taxpayers of New York. We're now providing a veritable taxi service when you offer both school choice, essentially to everyone at a struggling school, and they're all struggling, and a bus to get you there. School choice is the covert consolation prize for failing. If you drew circles around every elementary school at a radius of about 1.25 miles, you'd see they all overlap. Try it. It's hard to find a house not within 1 mile of an elementary. Yet we've made it way too easy to choose a school much farther. I've watched children on the corner across from Martin Luther King, Latin, and Ed Smith waiting for a bus to take them away. Why should a child spend an hour or more on a bus, morning and afternoon, driving past 4, 5, or 6 elementaries to get to the one assigned? What do our youngest learn on a bus? How could that time and money be better spent? Yet, and equally concerning to a family who may want to buy a home in this city on Bryant, Coleridge, Cumberland, Glenwood, Shunk Avenues, Kennedy or Elk Streets, or Ridgewood Drive, that we have a district that won't commit to guaranteeing a space for the child of a family who would like to attend the school blocks away. Of an entire state, 3 more of our schools were singled out by Commissioner Elia for receivership, but we have school choice. Where will those families find a quality educational experience? Saving just 1/3 of these transportation costs would build a new state-of-the-art school every few years and 1 mile of sidewalks in all directions to get you there safely. Imagine that. Beyond fiscal waste identified in the JSCB, I think this elected body needs to wade a little deeper into the spending of the district. While the district is consistently far from receptive to my input, it seems the state comptroller is listening. Maybe it's time to ask SMTC to study district transportation. That's what they do. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have something that you would like to leave with the clerk?
I'll make copies and...
Okay, thank you. Behind Barry, there's Tom Babylon. Thank you.
Barry Lentz, 1011 Westcott Street. I just want to speak in support of the mayor's budget and a reasonable tax increase of the property tax, whatever that may end up being, and the water fund, whatever that may end up being. I understand the reasons why common councilors are concerned about exceeding the tax cap with respect to its impact on the STAR program, and other concerns about low-income people, fixed-income people, and the impact of a budget increase and a water fund increase might have on them. Nevertheless, it remains the fact that we haven't had a budget increase since 2011. Expenses keep going up. The administration has, I think, in the past year and is going to be doing in the future a reasonable job of finding excess expenses and cutting those expenses through efficiencies and other means. We're also doing a good job of finding increased revenue. Nevertheless, expenses keep going up, and we can't live in a world and we think that there never has to be tax increases. So whatever the solution is, somewhere between the position of the administration and the position of the common councilors, I hope a reasonable compromise can be found in the coming weeks to come up with a workable budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Tom Babylon, and before you come up, if there's anyone else that would like to speak, fill out a yellow card, please.
Hi, my name is Tom Babylon. I live at 200 Burnett Ave. I've lived there owned my home there for the last 10 years. I've lived in Syracuse for the last 15 of the last 16 years. I'm here to say that property taxes in the city are an extreme burden. I'm a professional, and every quarter, I have to struggle to pay my taxes in this city. I don't live in a mansion. I live in a pretty normal house, and it's $1,000 every 3 months. So that's a lot of money for most people here. Anybody else here struggle with their taxes? I think it's pretty clear. If you talk to anyone that doesn't live in the city of Syracuse, ask them why they don't live here. It's either going to be crime, the school, or the taxes. The council shouldn't be doing anything, not a single thing, to disincentivize anyone from moving to the city. If they're not moving here because of the taxes now, they're not going to want to move here if you raise the taxes even higher. People that have lived in different places, you really have to live someplace else to understand what the tax burden is in this city. I lived in another location. I paid a quarter of the taxes that I paid here, and I got all the same services that I receive here. I don't know why why our taxes are so high here, but I'm here to say that we cannot afford a tax hike of any amount. People are struggling to pay their taxes now. People shouldn't have to decide whether or not they're going to pay their taxes, they're going to pay their mortgage, they're going to pay the utility bill, or they're going to feed their family. Someone made a point earlier that we haven't had a tax increase since 2011. If the city was doing well, if the government was doing what they're supposed to do, we shouldn't ever have a tax increase. The property values would raise and the tax revenue would increase without this council, without the mayor having to raise the taxes a single percentage. So if someone's coming here and saying that we need to raise the rate of taxes now, that means you all are doing something wrong, because you're not collecting enough money, because the property rates, the value of the property is not going up sufficient to keep with the budget of the city. The last thing I want to point out here is for the mayor of this city to ask for a 3.5% raise in income or in property taxes is disingenuous. It's hypocritical. I mean, I don't know, some of you, the mayor, before he was in a different job at this city, he was Deputy Director of Neighborhood Business Development. He came to this council on multiple occasions when this council had to approve pilot agreements. And he said to this council, well, this very expensive high-end apartment building, they just cannot afford to build it because of the tax rate of the city of Syracuse. It's not financially possible for them to do this extreme project without these tax incentives. Well, I'm telling you, if these multimillionaire developers need tax breaks to build apartment buildings for high-end people that are paying $1,500, $2,000 a month for rent, the people of the city of Syracuse can't afford that increase either. Okay,
Thank you.
It's not fiscally. They're not financially able to make it. If a millionaire developer can't afford to build a building because of the tax rate of the city of Syracuse, then all these people can't afford to pay the taxes on the homes that they live in now.
Thank you, Mr. Babylon.
Thank you.
Shakur Sharif, and then Jason Siegler.
Good afternoon. My name is Shakri Sharif, and I live at 132 Cliffside Drive. The first thing I want to state is that I am actually a former Syracuse City School District student. I went there for elementary school, middle school, and for high school, and I currently go to Lemoyne College. And after going to college, I realized, looking back at my high school, that we didn't have someone called a college consultant, which a lot of my peers actually shared with me, helped them get into the college of their choice and the college that they were fit to be. And I hope that you consider putting this into the budget of having a college consultant for each of the high schools. Thank you.
Jason Siegler.
Hi, my name's Jason Ziegler. I live at 338 South Collingwood Avenue in the city. Wasn't going to say much, but seeing everybody come up here and talk about the tax increase, I feel like I couldn't just sit back and nod. The city I feel like the city is trying to take a look at the budget crisis as far as facing bankruptcy. If we have a fiscal control board imposed on us, you're going to lose what choices we have. You have a lot of people in this room that can't really afford a tax increase. And to say that we should put the money for one group of people at the expense of somebody else isn't right. There's a lot of laudable things that the city wants to do. We now have a expanded snow plowing program to plow sidewalks. It's a laudable idea. There are issues with kids getting to school. but this wasn't supposed to result in a tax increase, and I think that's what we were told last year. The money came from what I believe the DPW budget. Some people can afford to pay more in taxes, some people can't. I think that's something that this common council should consider when saying, look, we may need to spend money in this area, that one, but think about who's paying that tax increase. There's a lot of people in this room, they feel like they really can't afford it, they're on a fixed income. I certainly think a no vote on a budget increase. As far as an increase in tax rate, as Mr. Babylon pointed out, if the property values increase, you're getting more money. It's not simply, it's a percentage increase. So the fact that taxes haven't been increased on a percentage basis, that is not a reason to raise taxes. I would ask the common council to live within its budget, to make the hard choices, to get us out of this fiscal crisis. I appreciate the work that's already been done. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Hearing none, I declare this public